What's up, lads? How are we doing today? Gotta get there for some racing. Hey, yes, I see that some of you were awaiting my entrance. Took a little while. As some of you getting all this up. A few new drivers in the grid today, something I haven't noticed yet. Let's call the guy who's currently in second TF mess. I know it's supposed to be Mies. But if he crashes today, at least we can say he's got into the mace. Anyway, he's definitely one of the new ones. P11, Mr. Robin, also new, as far as I am concerned. Yerkel, new as well. I think I actually pronounced that right, which makes me quite proud of myself. Leroy filling in as far as I'm concerned. Driver I know, but not one I have commentated for yet. So I guess that there are a few new races around the virtual paddock are gonna enhance our experience today. Austria, 10 corner circuit, one of the faster ones to be precise. Sector 1, 2 and 3 are quite limited in their and the expertise needed in the, let's say, the toughness they need, or they are, for drivers to conquer. Sector 1 is one right-hander, so there is by no means any way to distinguish that as hard. But Sector 2 and 3 is where things begin to get tough. Sector 2, you have the really tight hairpin in turn 4, which if you fall out of, you get completely done, because there's a ton of gravel just behind it and it's really hard to get out of. As you can probably imagine, gravel is first lap time here set. Lovely Mr. Bustle. Yes, Panda, if you're asking, I imagine you guys on stream won't see this because it all gets the little black box around it, but yes, there is a chat that everybody is part of. 1:12.7 to beat here. I think last time I said that if we can beat the current fastest lap time by 4-5 seconds, it will be a good day. I think it's something we can set as a goal for today as well. 4 seconds off the 1.12 would require 1.8 from drivers. I think it's manageable for some of the guys around in, but that is something we're only going to find out soon. So this is the gap between sector 2 and 3 that I was speaking about. You saw Jerry here going through turn 4 just moments ago, and now being part of sector, or not being part of, but driving through sector 3, arguably needs the parts of the track. Definitely not easy in sector 1, which is simply one right-hander, but it does present its own challenges in certain ways. So second lap out, improves just slightly. Goran, as far as I'm concerned, is also one of the new drivers around here. And there you go, this is the turn of 4 I was speaking about. This is one where if you get either touched from behind, or if you miss your braking point, you are going to pay for it. Sector 3 now for the driver. Easing up slightly, setting himself up for a fast lap. Yellow flags in sector 2. Who could that have been? Zomba, no? Well, let's get back to Goran here, who appears to be setting a fast lap, breaking under 50, awesome point of reference here, but spins slightly. That isn't going to help him. Potentially, unless it manages to find a ton of time around the other parts of the circuit, that will be detrimental to his lap time. 15-meter board, another good point for reference of your brake. Purple sector here for Goran, despite the little spin. So it looks like he did manage to climb some time, at least in comparison to Jerry. and he's about to smack into sector 3, which will give us a rough estimate of where he stands based on whether the sector is purple. It is not, so being slightly behind there, and he spins again. Doesn't seem like the purple sector 1 can help him anymore. Leroy, let's see, enjoying himself. Maybe the wet's on the way to go. Make sure to send this out to your friends and see. We have 4 people watching right now. Last time round we had 1, which happened to be myself on my computer, checking whether anyone's actually on. So yeah, send the stream out to your friends so I don't have to talk to myself. Make sure to drop something in the comments as well. Purple sector 1 here for the Raps now. Can you convert that in sector 2 as well? Oscar said at 113. Goron with his spin at 144. And now where would the Raps to be taken? Obviously this is one of the more experienced drivers in the league. You see him now crossing second purple sector, so this is on. With 20 minutes to go, it appears the Raps knows exactly what he's doing. Slight spin there earlier, but clearly not detrimental enough. 1 corner left, turn 10, and that was smooth. That was very smooth. How close will it be? 112.5, so maybe the 108 that I was speaking about earlier is a bit of a stretch, but nevertheless 113.1, sorry, 112.5 is Jerry's time, which is unbeaten. Is the Raps going for a second lap too? Looks like it's an in lap. A few more drivers sit sometimes over the course. Here. Still waiting for Pan to set up, although this appears to be the one he's going for, so he crosses the 40-second mark in the lap. It's going to be taking on sector 3. Purple, sector 2 for that matter. So it looks as if this is going to be a very impressive debut in the league for the driver. Unless I am mistaken, it appears to be his first time here. 2 corners left, 1 right now. We see a lovely spinning car just moments earlier, and this is the dominant, a crucial point where it was taken 114.3. So the purple sector 2 not good enough. Leroy is in the pits for the first time as it is. No lap time set beforehand. Max, I see you're asking for me to invite you. I'm kind of in the lobby, so it's going to be a bit hard to do so. Let's see if we can find Maxi. We can do that. Never mind. So that guy's coming in. In the meantime, a few more drivers at the laps. Panda Boy here, 114.3. I think this is going to be our next interesting person in terms of names. Leroy with the pole, 6-1. Square execution in the HWA. Max has joined. I didn't notice whether there was a purple sector in sector 2 fully or there. Doesn't appear to be so. But coming close to the top is definitely possible. P3. Impressive stuff from the new HWA driver. About 4/10 away from the pole positions of Jerry and Goran, who has improved from earlier on. Oh, and there you go, Oscar. All full of scorpions is his mind. That's our first Shakespearean quote of the day. I'll see if I can drop any more at any point. Oscar meanwhile going to start a lovely lap and go on leaves. DRS available obviously during qualifying laps in all DRS zones, unless it's raining, which it isn't. It's another invalidated lap for Oscar. Nowhere near ideal. Zorba on out lap it appears. So there you go. Definitely one driver worth to take a look at. Another set of spins, we saw this earlier with Goran. So clearly a slight spin out of turn 1 isn't going to be as bad as it could be. If it was in other parts of the track like turn 4, no purple sector though for Zorba, so you'll have to catch up a bit more over the other sectors on the track. No purple sector in sector 2 there. Now take a look, Jerry with a 112.599, so just for the sake of the argument, say he did a 112.6. That is a time fairly hard to beat, as it seems, even though it was set in the early stages of the race, of the qualifying session. So as you see here, simply setting anything, even without purple sectors, is going to be a bit unproblematic, to put it that way. Minus 1.5 for Zorba though, on his previous time. So he is worth taking another look at. There you go, taking a bit of slipstream from Jerry as well, despite not being teammates. Oh, purple in sector 2? No. Purple in his mind? Yes. You know what else in his mind? The barrier. And it's more than just in his mind because it was literally right ahead of him just a moment ago. So there's our first spin out of the day. Well, not first, second actually. Max also coming a bit late. We'll be setting it up now. The grass is definitely not something you want to drive on, simply for the sake of things like not invalidating your lap time. The sausage curbs on the track aren't exactly too nice either. And there you go, so I guess here's your first attempt at this Austrian circuit. Ferrari fanboy here in the Ferrari fanboy car for the S&P Racing. We'll be entering sector 3 fairly soon. I guess we can see how he performs there. Take a look at the top right elements of the screen where you will see the gap to his previous lap times, which obviously in the case of Max haven't been set yet, and it doesn't look like he's going to set one too soon. There you go, there's your front, there's your rear wing gone. Anyway, at least you can drive back to the pits and actually set a lap later. So, last 10 minutes of the session. Because this is where the fastest laps will be being set. So don't roll out beating Jerry's 112.6. Goran retires from the session appears to be not caused by an incident on track, but simply by the fact that he appears to be believing in the idea that what he has gained has been the best lap he can produce. Anyway, there was a rule that said that retiring from the session was going to be illegal, but as you see, 2 drivers have done it already. Meanwhile, in Xavier with the purple sector 1, as I said earlier, the one single sector doesn't exactly mean he will grab the fastest lap. But in the case of David here, I mean, that was a staggering lap time. And it's the first actual lap he's coming here to set. I'll take a look once again, top right. .1, and that's a second purple sector in a row. One left, and he clearly knows where he can use his car just forward, which elements of the track need to be watched and which do not. Takes it home through the final corner, turn 10 into the final straight, DRS enabled, fastest lap, only 4th. So clearly the third sector is where Davey struggles, although it did appear he was doing really awesome through most of it. I guess for some interaction with you guys, since it appears not many of you are exactly keen on talking in the chat. Let me know what your favourite fruit is. There's 5 of you apart from me on my computer, so let's take a look. 5.5 minutes ago, and that is not the way you want to finish a qualifying session. Yeah. Put it this way, the Halo saved his life. NRL. Landing upside down definitely isn't something you want to do on an F1 track, even if it's a Formula 2 car. Wow, simple. At least it doesn't crash. The way some people did. I'm not gonna name any names. You're up to here, so 3 seconds left. Qualifying session. Slight spin there, leaving sector. Not exactly ideal for too many drivers. Let's see where the Raptors takes it. This 0.2 of a second is what he's losing. This is pretty good this time, which is a 113.1, as you can see on your left, right next to his name. This is invalidated though. This will give him any aid, well obviously it won't because the lap was invalidated, but he gets a lovely new lap too. Be not afraid of greatness is what Shakespeare once said, and this is something that the Raps is going to try to take on board. The Raps, disdain and fortune. That's all I remember from Macbeth. Anyways, let's see how he handles turn 4 there. Beautifully, beautifully. Doesn't touch the curb. Definitely isn't one of the curbs that you do want to touch though. The Raps there. So he is slightly off the curb there. You can see just how much that is hard to give in. For some reason, although I don't see how, he invalidates his lap and now he's also going to end up in the wall. With under freedom, I think he can leave and set another lap. So it appears P7 is what he will have to settle for. Anyways, let's see if anybody else is on track. Oscar is, and he appears to be setting a lap very soon. And he is. So there you go, Yurko leaving just side by side, I think with 1 disqualifying session. Yurko retired from the session. And Oscar, where can you take us now? Doesn't touch the curb on the outside of the track, leaving turn 1, so definitely not the best for acclimatizing track limits. No power sector there either. He crosses the early parts of sector 2, which are synonymous for their rivalry between Leclerc and Verstappen in previous years, especially during the COVID years. Doesn't touch the curb into sector, well, not sector, but into turn 4 either. Yellow flags as we see a lovely driver on the gravel He doesn't have some gravel. Anyways, Oscar clearly is fine on track with the pole, sector 2. Now one more lovely sector is what he needs. Sector 3 is one which drivers have been struggling with all the time. Sector 1 and 2 have been dominant in many cases, but it was the third sector that posed most issues. But it appears it isn't a rule that's going to touch Oscar, or will it? Yeah, well, you stayed. So, yeah, the purple sector doesn't seem to be helping him either. At least not too much. Anyway, so Jerry sets the lap at the beginning of the qualifying session and dominates. Let's see who we have left. So Oscar isn't setting a fast time. Max just set his time. This guy here did. So it appears the qualifying session will now be over. So congratulations to Jerry, not Jerry. Davy's in P2, Jerry's in P1. They're not one person. Jerry and Davy, not JV. Anyways, congratulations to them too. As mentioned in the comments, Dam's on pole for the first time in the league. So a lovely achievement for them to enjoy now. So we're all just waiting for lovely Oscar to finish his lovely little time. 15 seconds off. Clearly enjoying himself. Nice, Oscar, nice. Oh, would you look at this? 3 Dutchies on the top. Hold on. Goron here is Polish. Meaning. So Goron. Z Gawrona. Witam Polaków, jeśli ktoś tu z Polski ogląda stream nasz piękny. Mam nadzieję, że ktoś się tu znajdzie. Jak nie, to Gawrona wysłać może wam oczywiście jakieś zaproszenie. Anyways, I doubt there's anyone Polish who actually understood that. Rain in the sprint race, definitely something not too many drivers were hoping for. But something they're gonna have to face. I mean, there's no way around it now. Inverted grids for sprint race, of course, based on qualifying. Only top 10. Is inverted. So this now means that we have Dutch missile MP1. David is qualified from the formation lab. Obviously I know it's his session, but the session it refers to is simply the formation lap. And there is... Where's your helmet, guy? Do you not know that in Formula 2 and Formula 1 and everything, you need to wear a helmet? Look at this guy. Why does he have a balaclava? Where is your helmet? Why are you running? Why are you running without no helmet? Why you do that? If somebody is interested, you can clip that, please. It's always fun to watch in the thingy, in the chat later on. Telling the Dutch missile stop running. I believe I should probably look for a cable to charge my controller, as it appears it's... And I don't think that's something you guys would really appreciate. Once again, if you have a moment, send this stream over to a friend and you can enjoy it together, and I don't have to speak to one person. So 14 laps of a sprint race goes to show how short the Austrian track is. Full wets on the tire, on the wheels of every driver here, and off we go. Turn 1. To what extent can we expect an attack from VDW? It does come, and he does push the Dutch missile off, and there is a bunch of spins, obviously not just one, because this is the Nova Racing League. The full wet conditions aren't gonna help, I should say. Jerry falls down, New Panda all the way down in 12. Although that hasn't changed much since qualifying. There's another 2 set of drivers, including the Dutch missile, off track, and now D-Raps is going to be off as well. Some of them are going to be entering the track in unsafe conditions, which now may bring about a safety car at any given point. But look at this, D-Raps, on our Polish driver here, Governor, like, can you make a move? Can you not? A bunch of braking into turn 4 will come across and take Jerry out. So that's 2 drivers off the track now. Jerry may be retiring. To what extent he will, I don't know. It makes an awesome overtake into P4. That makes the driver in direct range of Zorba, who is in 3rd currently, trailing behind Yoko and Mace. I'd like to remind you, the Dutch missile was a 198 ahead, but look at Mace falls. Now Yoko is the only driver who can fully pose a threat to the pole time of Jerry Russell. And obviously this might sound a bit absurd, but the point I'm making here is that Jerry has to climb all these 10 positions to be in range of the airport. Anyway, let's take a look. The Max receives a 5-second tap penalty for speeding in the pit lane. 3 drivers in the pits right now, and another attempt for another overtake will be made as top 3 battling out really close. Let's take a look here. Red Bull sponsored car. Can the driver make a move? It appears that clipping was a very big possibility, and there you go. The off track, going to have to pit in for a new front wing, similarly to the other 3 drivers which I've done so already. Oscar makes a lovely move. Can he make a stick? It appears he does, but there is 2 drivers up his inside, Panda being one of them. Instead of climbing trees, Panda's climbing position P6 now, after being in P8 just moments ago. D-Raps with no front wing, virtual safety car deployed. And let us catch a slight breath there. Moments like these make me wish we could have a bit of a replay system on the game. So given on the key, P2 now. Obviously given the drop back that VDW had. Yago in the lead. Virtual safety car being deployed obviously means one thing. Drivers are not allowed to exceed a certain speed which the Rapster doesn't know how to do because he receives a 5-second time penalty, and the virtual safety car is taken off track once again. So I think it's fair to leave any kind of explanation of how it works for later elements of the race, because there's much more interesting things to speak about now. The curbs are definitely not the most safe elements of the track to be touching when it's raining in such conditions, but the high-tech driver makes it work. Jörg will obviously take another approach to this. 7 people watching this stream now, so thank you all for joining. Tell me what your favourite fruit is, please. And I'll take a look at how Jörg takes every single corner, whether he's got damage or whether he's simply fearing the curbs is a big question. But he does set a purple sector in Sector 2, which was one of the easier ones to conquer for drivers in qualifying. He has been given a penalty, similarly to the Rapster Max, and will now be defending as he appears to have damage and be slotting into the pits. So the pole now takes the lead of the race, as we're going to take a look at whether Jörg here is going to serve his 5-second time penalty. In the high-tech set a fast lap, but it was only temporary as Robert comes in and sits on 123. Now taken by Leroy, TF, Jerry, and someone else later on. This reminds me of one of the Formula 1 races during the lockdown period. It appears to be in Austria, if I'm correct. So there's your answer. Jörg did not have a 5-second time penalty. He had a drive-through penalty. Now gaps are starting to form in between the drivers. Zorba in P2 after climbing up 11 positions, so he wasn't even within the top 10 in qualifying. And Jerry is appearing to struggle now. And there's a battle here between Davey and Oscar that is worth observing. Panda receives a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Obviously, it's easier to get the warnings in this game than it would be in real life, but consider the fact that there are such things as track limits which you have to obey, and that is what he receives a penalty for. As I didn't take a look here, but it looks as if Jerry here is actually trying to make some progress. Leroy right behind in the HWA, and now 7 drivers in the space of less than a second. And you can see how much using the curbs actually helps Jerry there, and he does make an overtake on Panda, I should say. No DRS enabled, so you'll have to focus on gaining slipstream instead. And there is Oscar right up ahead. It appears that the rain has slightly subsided, but clearly not significantly enough yet. It is the setup that appears to be helping Jerry a lot here, although I'm not taking away from the fact that he's an awesome driver. But look how much speed he does gather around the straight, and Oscar makes a mistake to go slightly wide turn 4. What the mistake I was telling you about, that could be detrimental. Jerry makes a similar one, apart from the fact that it was more of a spin, and he's going to have to leave some space there, but with Oscar slightly behind, he's going to be able to pull away. P5, so that's 5 positions gained for Jerry after being in P1. Zorba now to defend quite a distance. He has to P1 3.5 seconds, but only less than 1.5 seconds behind. The slipstream coming in powerful. Davey takes a look and believes it is better to make another move, another attempt down the second straight. Jörg says a 122.7 being the fastest lap of the current race. And a dive up the inside from Robin into P2 really goes deep. And he's going to have to allow Zorba to regain his position. Now, once again, no DRS enabled, but slipstream is very prominent around the outside. Can Robin take this move? Appears not, although he does attempt the switch back and it appears to be successful. But for how long can he defend this second position in the race? Zorba right on his gearbox through every single corner. And as a starting straight, that appears to be the next point at which Zorba could be making a potential switchback. Whether it's fully possible, we're gonna have to find out. There's 8 laps remaining in the race. I imagine Zorba receives a warning for exceeding track limits there. Not something I would do myself. And I'm not speaking about giving penalties, I'm speaking about, well, giving penalties, yes. Hey, there goes Robin. You can't park there, mate. That's not where you get to continue in P2. So he has to drop back and settle for P3. Luckily, it doesn't drop too much positions and remains on the podium. Although, take a look as Jerry is now closing down. Leroy hasn't managed to make too much of an effort. Maybe not much of an effort, that's definitely the wrong way to describe this, but he hasn't managed to make a move on Jerry. There. Davey makes a massive mistake, allows Leroy to climb some time, spins slightly. Well, it's clearly not directing the water too greatly. Paul remains in the completely comfortable lead. 6 seconds now. I mean, can you really want something else from a driver? So while the high-techs are enjoying themselves, maybe not both of them, but one is. The rest of the pack is only going to pour through for the 8th lap of the race. Panda with another 3-second time penalty. Let's look at penalties. So Panda 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 40 Rapstar, another 5 for Max. Not exactly what you want to do in many cases, unless getting penalties is your passion. Do Rapstar with the 121.9, so he's proven he has a speed, but he's going to have to use it in the second race as 6 laps doesn't seem to be enough to climb back. Now Jerry again on the hunt for some upper positions. He still has 4 laps left, but doesn't 6 laps left, so doesn't appear as if he's making too much progress though. Davey honestly enjoyed the lovely barrel roll in qualifying. Not sure how lovely it was to him, but it was lovely to me. To what extent is everything possible? I mean, in the case of a dog eating a cat, yeah, I think it's quite possible. In the case of Jerry climbing back up to P1, the circumstances appear to be narrowing down, and the chances are so too. He's going to have to start relying on the mistakes made by his competitors, because clearly these conditions aren't suiting him as much as he would like. And so with that, emerge victorious. It appears is the more important question, I believe. Robin on the attack from Jerry, and there goes Jerry P4 finally. What he was hoping for so long has become a reality. But clearly not for too long. Robin now, after being in P3 for a moment, drops down P4, P5 even at some point, as he is now. And Zorba has been dropping down the pace. Maybe slightly, but slightly enough to give him the proximity, or give the other drivers the proximity towards him. And spin! Not too detrimental though. Great control over the car. Clearly the fact that Robin has to manage to acclimatise on that isn't an issue of his, but simply a proof of the skill of Jerry, who is in penalties, I'd like to remind you. So really, the attack we're seeing from Jerry here is the attack that's most legit in terms of actual position, because neither driver has penalties. Zorba has to be forced wide, and there goes Jerry. So now Jerry's going to try push himself into all this. Remember when I was saying that he was still in P5 and it would be hard for him to regain the lead? Well, look at this double move up the inside of not one but two drivers, pushing Davey down. But Jerry, P2, if you take a look at leader, this will give us a bit better of an understanding, maybe not. Never mind. Interval 0.6 to Zorba, 0.7 now. Another 0.4 to Davey. So it appears that P4 is what Jerry will have if he remains in this position, but it's not really the position that matters here most. It is the time he gains to the drivers behind him. Clearly using up all the effort he has built up over the course of the race. Now 1.1 seconds ahead, so only 2 seconds left to build up on. Slight oversteer there for Davey. Root Panda receives another 3-second time penalty for another set of multiple warnings. So Jerry went wide there. Those of you watching, let me know what you think about the qualifying session we saw today. Maybe not necessarily just in NRL, but in real life. Mercedes seem to have gathered themselves, but who can get themselves here? Zorba v Davey. Davey goes around the outside, gets pushed slightly, and now leaves Zorba in his mirrors. But a long set of sector, or the end of sector 3 and sector 1 is there. Is that Glock? No, it's Jerry. It's Jerry spinning, and now on P5, so the comfortable gap he had managed to produce doesn't give him much as he comes back to P5 and is now in range of penalties towards the other drivers in the group. 14 seconds of the leader now, so the pair really managing to acclimatise around this track. The weather conditions clearly being in his or her advantage. Two laps remaining, or 1.5 I should say. 30 seconds up on the Tipori Panda, so let's take a quick look. Not to violate him, but that's 12 seconds of penalties that he has now. So the 5 seconds of max and other drivers is suddenly nothing. Now Leroy, P5. Told me not to talk about him too much, but come on, how can I not? Leroy knows the way, but does Yuko know the better way? Clearly not yet, but he might do very soon. Do you know the way? Do you know the way, Yokel? Yokel, do you know the way? I should probably stop with the dead memes. So 3 drivers now in contention for P4. After Jerry made his mistake early and he goes wide. Loses both positions there to both Leo and York. And almost crashes, does he? Manages to stay on. Jerry saves a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Lead there. Track limit exceeding. Wasn't in his advantage. Makes a move up on Leroy. Dirty move. You could see how much touching there was. Although sometimes you do have to force your way through a trick. So there you go. Avrona finishing the race, 14.5 second advantage, almost 15 to Davey. You can see how big of an advantage that was simply based on the times of finishing. Zorban out post through the round, so does Yerkel, and Jerry right behind him falls slightly. P6 appears to be his cap due to the penalties obtained early in the race. Very planned, let's take a look at how much not to violate him, by no means, please don't get me wrong. Lewis gets a 5-second time penalty. Let's see how far Luke Panda finishes after penalties. Obviously TF Mees and Max both have penalties as well, so it appears to cancel out a little bit. And there goes over with the driver of the day. I don't think you can really say it's undeserved, but Governor's win was definitely far undeserved. I mean, in wet conditions there's not too much you can do. All that shines is skill. Anyways, 15 points going to the pole, and you saw all the top four positions being dominated by the Dutchies earlier on, and it's now the 3 of them between P4 and P6, separated by a German from Davy. A very Dutch dominated lobby, I have to say. I mean, if we literally have a guy called the Dutch Missile, not to be conflated with terrorism, I hope. I'm back. Hello. 20 laps now. So future race is the one where you need to pit. There's a difference. Dan seems to be complaining about the Primo hitting him. But remember that adults are traders and make us lose the good. We often might win, but failing to attempt. Don't know how I managed to turn a Shakespeare quote into an Indian accent, but anyways, there's that. Three people watching, come on. I'm sure we can invite some friends over. Maybe there's a few more. Fifth fly out. In just a moment, away we go. So this feature race of the Formula 2 format, NRL, still wet conditions. Turn 1, Jerry in the lead. Obviously, let's take a look how many crashes getting observed in the back. Luckily less this time around. All drivers managed to stay on track, and there is not necessarily too much evidence of that last. And you see that all the puddles around the track aren't going to be too helpful for many of the drivers. Oh, there goes Orba, there goes Oscar. So forget what I said. Virtual safety car deployed. 2 retirements already. So it doesn't exactly seem as if the safety of turn 1 lasted too long. Safety car. So the reps are now on P5. Lovely, enjoying himself. to know, lovely to train me up here. Maybe the safety car will actually be useful this time around. Let's see how this goes. Oh, 5-second penalty there. Someone with it. 3 drivers left. Hey, there we go. Playing bowling now. This is fun. Now, last to survive. Period. So, 2 drivers here left now, and the survivor of them appears to be the winner now, which happens to end a bit quicker as they both leave. So there you go, lovely weekend for us here. I'm sure we all appreciated that. So, make sure to go back and watch what had happened again. It was kind of funny, not gonna lie. You can enjoy yourself there. Don't look at these final standings because they're not the final standings. The sprint race, fair enough. The feature race, not exactly. I think there's one thing to be said here. The Paul did make a good claim for himself. As for the other drivers, it appears that is over. It doesn't appear we're going to be restarting this session. If we do, you will see another stream called NRL S6 R3 Austria. For now,